Hey guys, I wanted to share a little bit about my postpartum journey this time because God has been working on some very interesting things in me. I actually have my little recording buddy with me this time. She's sleeping on me as I record this. I recently wrote a Substack called Overdue Date where I shared her birth story and I also shared the meaning behind her name. And it's a great read. I'm going to encourage you to go read it. I'll link it below so you can check it out. It is free for you to read, not behind the paywall. I love to hear your thoughts on it. But today, and I hinted at this in that particular story, I wanted to share more about what God has been doing postpartum, because every time you have a kid, God transforms your brain a little bit more and encourages you to surrender even more. So I think it'll make, hopefully, for a helpful story that you can take into your own lives, whether you're a mom or not. So this postpartum was the hardest one yet. I don't know if it was the girl hormones or what I prayed for, because I had prayed very diligently, not only about generational things to be broken over my daughter, but also that I would be a healthy example of self-image to her. That is something I've struggled with a lot in my life, and it is something that I am continuously working on. And that was one of my biggest fears around having a daughter, was that I would be a poor influence on her, because my own self-image has suffered greatly as a teenager and as an adult. And I don't know if God is answering that prayer in this way, or if it, was the girl hormones or the transition from 2 to 3 kids. I hear from a lot of my friends that was their hardest transition. I really hear that you're either in the 1 to 2 was hardest, or you're in the 2 to 3 was hardest. Beyond that, it's a different kind of movement. But it all kind of started coming together. I was reading some articles this Mother's Day from Every Life and Daily Wire and a couple other places about the beauty of motherhood, how your baby stem cells stay inside you even years after they're born. Even the babies you lose to miscarriage, their cells stay inside of you and help take care of your body and build it back up. And how psychologically your brain is altered after you have your first kid, after you have your second kid. You lose gray matter. Your identity reworks itself into a different frame, a different framing, where you see yourself differently in respect to others because you have children now. Or how after the second one, your brain has a new capacity to handle more interruptions, more uncontrollable factors, more chaos, and handle it all better. And after my third child, I just really felt for the longest time like I wasn't going to be able to do this. And there were a lot of ways that God was beautifully merciful to me. My husband thought he was going to be able to split his paternity leave, for example, and do 2 weeks here and 2 weeks there. And it turned out he wasn't going to be able to do that, so he took all 4 at once. And I think that helped me immensely, because it did take me all 4 weeks to really prepare to do this on my own again. And then even after that, it was amazing, truly amazing, how much help would walk in the door every time things felt impossible. And someone would pick up the baby. And I do mean someone would just walk through the door. There were certainly moments where, I was planning for somebody to come over, didn't know when they would be there, but knew they would be over, and they came through the door in time to take the baby, in time to help with something. And they offered. I didn't ask, they offered. There were also just moments where things were planned, were expected. I did ask for help and people showed up. But I'm incredibly grateful for that, because it feels like she's 7 weeks old at the time I'm recording this. In the 7 weeks of her life, I feel like it has been a whole new experience of rewiring my brain to remain calm and remain peaceful and actually remain joyful, even during seemingly impossible situations where literally everyone needs something at once and I cannot physically do it. This is where God is giving supernatural strength and supernatural capacity. And I want to encourage you to keep listening, even if you're not a mom, because I think He can give you the supernatural capacity to do that, even if it's not your own children. If you need to handle 3 things at once at work, 3 issues in your family, 3 conflicts in your friend group, and it doesn't have to be 3, it can be however many. But for this example, I'm giving 3. He's going to give you the priority list. He's going to give you the way through it, even when it seems impossible. And it all finally clicked for me one day when my boys wanted to ride their bikes and go on a walk. And for once, I didn't give myself any crutches. We didn't pack water bottles. There were no snacks. We didn't take the wagon. I put Iris in the wrap on my chest, and we went. And I thought, okay, there are no cop-outs. We have to make it home one way or another. And actually, we ended up taking about a mile walk. But halfway through, the boys were getting tired of riding their bikes. And they started to complain, and I started to panic. That feeling bubbled up in me, and when I panic, I immediately get negative. It's something I definitely have to work on when having younger children around, because they do not respond to that positively. Most people probably don't, in general. And it's one of the flaws that I'm working through. So I felt the panic rise in me, and I went to God and I said, okay, I have to get them home. How do I get through this? And he said, stay calm and stay positive. So I encouraged them to keep going. I said, oh, look, there's a hill, then you can ride down it. Oh, look, there's one of our favorite things to stop at. Go play on it. We got to a certain point where they were getting even more tired, and I was like, okay, look, there's no place for us to rest here. It's just grass, okay? Think about the milk you'll be getting when you get home before rest. It'll be great. You can do this. Come on. I believe in you. God gave you the strength to do this. I felt like a personal trainer and the most peppy, positive person I could possibly have been in that moment. And we made it home. And they struggled, but no one broke down. And I was able to maintain this joyful demeanor. And truly, it was that moment where I engaged with God that shifted something in my brain. And I feel like the difficulty of these past 7 weeks was partially God taking the time to rewire my brain for 3 kids, to understand that everything will be okay, even if you can't get to that thing right now, even if you have to help one wash their hands and change one's diaper and feed the other one. And God will go, okay, this first, this second, and this third. And He will keep you calm and present and grounded. And it will be fruitful. And that's really what I want to encourage you to take away from this story, is that my postpartum journey looks like this, but your journey might parallel it. What is on your plate that God is asking you to prioritize? What are the things that keep stacking up that you feel like, I can't handle, there's too much of this at once, what am I supposed to do? All of those things that overwhelm is a great invitation for you to, 1, renounce the spirit of overwhelm and give it to God, and 2, to say, okay, God, how do I get through this? To stay calm and to stay positive, because God is working everything for your good, even when it's dark and it feels hard and it feels insane. He is still going to work it for your good. You'll have that moment where it clicks and He will resolve everything. And it might just take time of diligent prayer. It might take interactions and conversation with others. Who knows what it'll look like, but stay calm, stay positive, stay close to His heart, and see how He is asking you to handle what's in front of you. Because being willing to receive what He wants to give you, being vulnerable with Him that you're struggling, is the perfect invitation for Him to make big things happen. That is how transformation happens. That is how the world around you changes, because once you allow that transformation in, you can tell others, hey, this is the transformation I'm experiencing in my life. This is how God is working within me, and this is how He can work within you too, if you are willing to receive what He has for you. So, I don't know who needs to hear this. But stay calm, stay positive, stay close to God's heart, and He will lead you to the next right step. Hey friends, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Holy Surrender podcast. You can find everything that we're doing over at www.holysurrender.com. There you'll even find the link to my Substack, where I am sending out a newsletter every Sunday and every other Thursday. Sundays are free, and Thursday always includes a resource of some kind in our resource library, reserved for those of you who subscribe annually for $45 or monthly for $5. And you can even find all 6 magazines in the archives there as well. So go over and check all of that out. Check out our shop on Etsy, see if you want some merch, or you can still purchase the old versions of the magazine, physical or digital, individually. Also, this podcast is sponsored by NAP Ministries, who are out evangelizing, helping those in need, helping the homeless, and helping those come back to the church and evangelize their neighborhoods so that we can bring the kingdom to greater glory locally. Go check out what they're doing over at napministries.com.